This week's drive, we look at changes at the Big Cat, see how Honda's engines get used, get just too close for a win, and find the latest two-wheelers. All this and more in this week's Drive. We start with the news that the Jaguar Formula One team has extended its clean sweep by dumping its team manager, Niki Lauda, just a few days after hiring 2 new drivers. The team has had a dreadful season, and Ford, which owns Jaguar, is hoping that new personnel will provide better results next year. Ford's motorsport executive Richard Parry-Jones announced the move at a news conference 21 months after the Austrian triple world champion joined as head of Ford's premium performance group. Jackie Stewart started the team and sold it to Ford.
Well, I'm very sad to see Niki go, but I hope he won't be going. I hope he'll be staying on as an advisor to Richard Parry-Jones. I certainly enjoyed working with Niki enormously. We got on well together. We've been fortunate enough to win 6 world championships between us. But I think if Niki does stay on, he's still got a lot to offer the team in the way of knowledge and experience. But it's a decision that's been made on engineering criteria rather than human talent in the case of Niki's abilities.
Where we have not delivered is in the technical area. We have not exhibited the technical depth and the technical systems and the technical processes required to deliver a competitive car. And if you don't have a competitive car, then it doesn't really matter what else you have in the team for a manufacturer, because a manufacturer is playing a long-term game here. You know, we're not in this sport to survive, get by from year to year to year. We're in the sport to show showcase the values of Jaguar in a racing car environment which is relevant and contemporary to our modern Jaguar audience.
It's very difficult to forecast when they would be taking on the Ferraris of this world or McLaren or Williams, but I do believe that given the right engineering foundation with the right human resource of engineering talent, that's what will bring them up there. It won't just be a superstar driver. It won't just be a superstar engineer. It'll be all of the ingredients of the engineering package that will take them to be competitive. I don't think you could expect that to happen in less than 3 years, being realistic.
Lauda, then the reigning world champion, nearly died in this crash. Badly burned, he was given the last rites, but 40 days later was back on the grid defending his title. He came second, but won the next year. He retired 3 years later, but returned to racing in 1982. In 1984, he won 5 races and claimed his 3rd world championship with McLaren by finishing second to Alain Prost. Lauda ended the season half a point ahead of Prost, who famously said, "I am younger, I have more time." Indeed, the Frenchman went on to win the title 4 times, and Lauda finally retired in 1985. He became a consultant to Ferrari in 1992, moved to Jaguar in 2000, and took the wheel of one of the cars to better understand what his drivers, including Irishman Eddie Irvine, were up against. Just a few weeks ago, Lauda welcomed next year's drivers to the team, Australian Mark Webber and Brazilian Antonio Pizzonia. Lauda will be replaced at the top of the premium performance group by Tony Parnell, another member of the Jaguar hierarchy. Lauda's departure means Jaguar are now searching for their 5th team principal since January 2000, after team founder Jackie Stewart, Neil Ressler, Bobby Rahal and Lauda.
I think this was the main decision here.
Jaguar entered Formula One in 2000 after buying Stewart's team, but have never won a race despite a substantial financial investment and changes in key personnel. Ford reiterated their commitment to the team ahead of the US Grand Prix in September, but slashing redundancies were recently announced, and now it seems the main architect is to be replaced too. Parry-Jones asked Niki to fulfill the role of special advisor and hopes he will accept the post. Does Sir Jackie think that the team is a happy place through all the changes?
No, I don't think anybody is happy where they are now. They want to be better. 7th in the World Championship is not where they would like to be. But you've got to start from somewhere, and they're trying to bring out a new piece of paper and say, this is the technology base that we need for the future. We're going to build on it, and this is a major decision for the company to make to take the direction that they announced today.
For the record, Niki's brief test drive of the modern Jaguar proved that he wasn't likely to be making yet another comeback. He stalled the car on one corner and spun it a lap later. Last week, we looked at Honda's proud record in Formula One, which stretches back into the 1960s and peaked with world champions like Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost in the turbo era. Now, the company provides sealed engines to not one, but two Formula One teams, middle-ranking Jordan and underperforming BAR. The engines are designed and built in Japan, but Honda Racing Developments, or HRD in the UK, looks after maintaining the engines, stripping, rebuilding and, if necessary, upgrading them on a regular basis throughout the season. HRD also has race engineers and technicians attached to each team, but the internal secrets of the engines are known only to Honda personnel. They deliver sealed units to Jordan and BAR team headquarters, where the cars are designed and built more or less around the Honda engines. At the team factories, some components are added to the engine which are unique to the car the team has designed and built. The job of assembling and later removing a Formula One engine is handled by the engine kitter. In Jordan's case, that's Ian Marchant.
This engine I'm working on now is Jarno Trulli's engine, which did the race. So we'll de-kit it, take all our stuff off of it. As you can see, it's more than just a V10. There's a lot of Jordan stuff that goes on it that we fit. So we've got to take all that off, box it up and send it back to HRD. Normally I'll do it in the morning or an afternoon. Trucks normally get back on a Tuesday lunchtime, and then by Tuesday evening we'll have them boxed up. I'm on the way back to Honda. But sometimes we have a T-car engine to do as well, which is obviously makes 3, which makes it a bit tight, but you can just about do it.
Notwithstanding any dramas, there's an orderly routine to the Formula One maintenance process between races, which includes tasks like cleaning out the radiators.
We have a lot of servicing of radiators to do. It's obviously during the sort of 2 hours or so that they race around. If they're stuck in traffic or behind other cars, there's a hell of a lot of rubber shredded off from the cars in front. Just usual, generally like that after every race. But we will pressure wash all these and clean that up. That'll be okay. So, you know, they've got a 4,000 kilometre life expectancy on them, so obviously if we don't get enough air into the radiators, it becomes hot very quickly, and we don't have a viscous fan like you would do on a road car, so we can't sort of just add extra cooling to it. It basically relies on the car moving, and if it stands still for too long, it could be a big problem for us.
Between races, there are often testing sessions where modifications to car or engine are tried out, away from prying eyes. With the massive costs involved in running a Formula One car, testing is made as efficient as possible, but the Honda and team technicians will spend many hours together over the course of a year. Do the European technicians learn anything cultural from their Japanese colleagues?
We do, yeah. Not necessarily good words, but they find it quite amusing. They all speak pretty good English, actually. It's strange because within Jordan we've got quite a few nationalities, so we're a sort of multi-national team, really, with English, Irish and Japanese. So their food is a little bit different to ours, so I don't think any of the lads have ever got their heads around the Japanese cuisine yet.
But the business of Formula One is about racing and about winning, something that Honda hasn't done much of with either of its partners. Honda's racing involvement also extends to Champ Cars and its many motorcycle activities. Eddie Jordan, the charismatic ex-banker who set out to take on the giants of motorsport, doesn't underestimate the might of British-American racing.
They have emerged over the last couple of years as a serious contender. They can fight very hard. Is there animosity? I don't believe so. I think we've got over the situation of poaching each other's staff and things like that, which inevitably happens. BAR are one of our enemies, but there are 9 others, and from that perspective, I think it would be foolhardy for us to be just looking at what BAR are doing, and I'm sure likewise for them.
How many of these million-dollar engines has Honda had to build to keep both teams provided with fresh power?
We have 3 cars at the race. Only 2 cars can be used on a Friday, so Friday evening we would change 2 engines. So for the first day we have 3 engines in the cars. The second day is 2 fresh engines in the race cars, so that puts it to 5. And then for the final day it's fresh engines again. So during the weekend we will actually use a minimum of 8 engines. Honda have 2 or 3 spare engines for each day available as well. The same cycle happens with the testing. I mean, an engine normally is in a test just for 1 day.
I'm not quite sure what the life of this one is, but sometimes ex-race engines will do another race's Friday practice session. It may be a couple of races away before we see this one again, unless they've got some sort of development work to do on it. You sort of sit here, and although you work on the engines all day long, we don't actually get involved in what's inside that engine. So you sort of see the numbers, and you see them come round again. You see, like, number 1 we had in Melbourne, and it's cropped up again a couple of times. You think, oh, hello, seen that again. And there might be a subtle change on the outside that we can see, but you know, it might be a big change on the inside. We're not sure yet, because obviously it's a sealed unit that Honda deal with. But they do come round again. They do get used again. I think the life of them is about 400 kilometres, so they'll do just over 300 in a race. And that'll be probably, I should think this one will be stripped again more than likely, because it did do the full distance at Magny-Cours, and rebuild it again, check it over, or even throw it away. Who knows?
In the competitive world of Formula One, nothing remains constant. Honda will have different partners in the future. Just one reason why it keeps its secrets of its engines under wraps. It's the annual Race of Champions Nations Cup in the Canary Islands. American Jeff Gordon gets it wrong twice, chasing Brazilian Cristiano da Mata. Finnish off-road biker Kari Tianen in the white buggy does even worse, gifting the win to 250cc Grand Prix world champion Marco Melandri. A mistake by French motocross rider Michael Machiot lets Superbike world champion Colin Edwards win his semi-final round. Another French error by Sébastien Bourdais lets NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon redeem himself and claim his semi-final. In the final, it was America versus Italy. Rally driver Renato Travaglia up against Jimmy Johnson. The Italian won by 0.6 of a second on the sub-2-minute course. For the bikers, Edwards faced Melandri, but Marco misjudged the width of his buggy, then made things even worse, letting Colin take an easy win. This gave the Americans the Nations Cup, which saw teams of motorcycle and car racers from Britain, Finland, Sweden, Italy, Germany, France, the USA, Brazil and Spain run against each other on equal terms. Edwards was surprised to see a yellow flag on his final run.
It's water now, it'll be champagne later, I guess.
Exactly. And then I came over the back and I saw a yellow flag, and I go, I can't throw a yellow flag. This is single lane racing, but I didn't realize Marco was stuck there. So once I kind of caught the back of him, then I just popped the things up and, you know, showboating a little bit just to give the fans a little bit of acknowledgement.
The event, which also has an individual Champion of Champions section, is considered to be an end-of-term final fun event at the end of the year's racing for the many different classes of motorsport. This week we look at some of the other new models on display at the recent Intermot motorcycle show in Munich. The show usually sees the newest models revealed ahead of the new year, coming as it does in the European autumn. More than 1,000 exhibitors from all over the world come to show their products to trade buyers, and over 150,000 cashed-up enthusiasts who come from all over Europe to see the latest creations, accessories and riding gear. Honda are probably the best-known bike builder in the world and revealed several new models, including this feature-packed small-capacity street scrambler, a remake of the timeless XL125, which will appeal to those countries that have a 125cc learner limit. In addition, they build an 1800cc V-twin, but used the show to reveal the smaller and more manageable 1300cc cruiser. With all the classical cruiser styling cues, the big engine will offer the go to match the show.
Modelljahr 2003.
The latest version of the Varadero 1000cc V-twin dual-purpose trail tourer means the fun of the trip doesn't stop when the tarmac does. But the star of Honda's stand was the new CBR 600 sports bike, apparently derived from Valentino Rossi's championship-winning RC 211V.
We as Honda, we are regarding environment protection and also driver safety, means active safety and passive safety as a big challenge for our future model policy. So especially as you have a look with to the equipment with the catalyst of our bikes, and to our more and more penetrating our product lineup with the program fuel injection together with the catalyzer, we are sure that we are on the right way.
What would a motorcycle show be without the world champion's bike? Despite a devastating fire at the factory earlier in the year, English bike builder Triumph managed to present some new models, all derivatives of existing models. For example, the naked Speed 4 600cc Street Fighter is based on the TT600 sports machine. The Thunderbird Sport Retro is a cafe racer rendition of the traditional T-Bird. And the new Speedmaster Cruiser mixes chopper design with sporty elements.
Triumph's one of the oldest motorcycle manufacturers in the world. We're 100 years old this year, for 2002, and our philosophy really is to offer a modern technical product which mixes the heritage of the past with modern technology, really.
Yamaha, like Honda, is also concentrating on the mid-size sports bike market and revealed next year's version of the R6. Looking like a racetrack refugee, there's no doubting this bike was made to be ridden hard and fast. As traffic density increases and performance levels leapfrog environmental requirements, mid-sized bikes are proving the most popular with riders around the world. This potent fuel-injected bike weighs just 162 kilograms, has a 6-speed gearbox, revs to 15,500 RPM, and has many features straight off the track. At the other side of the motorcycling spectrum is the FJR 1300, a high-speed tourer that offers sporting performance and handling with Gran Turismo comfort. The bike comes with a weather-beating fairing and load-swallowing panniers, and Yamaha have fitted ABS anti-lock brakes to next year's model. Also fuel injected, the big 4-cylinder machine weighs 237 kilograms and has a maintenance-free shaft drive. Some models seem to live on and on. The VMAX has been a watchword for muscle bikes for what seems an age. The 1200cc V4 engine is fed by 4 two-stage carburetors and puts its power down through a 5-speed gearbox and shaft final drive. And although the fuel tank is under the seat, the saddle is remarkably low, dropping the centre of gravity well down. Finally, Suzuki showed 3 new models which complete their product range. Still their #1 bestseller, the GSX-R 1000, followed the strategy of giving more power with less weight in a more compact shape. The other new bikes were both V-twins, a sporty SV650S and an SV1000 version of the TL sports bike. Before the reunification of East and West Germany, almost the only car available behind the Iron Curtain was the Trabant. The butt of many jokes, the tiny 2-stroke engined cars became almost worthless when the Berlin Wall was demolished. But now, some are making a comeback, in the unlikely role of a tourist attraction, and demand is high for a tour through the streets of the once divided German capital. Thousands of people have booked Rico Heinzig's Trabi Safari in Berlin so far. The little convoy, consisting of a red Trabant stretch limousine, a yellow convertible and several normal Trabants if needed, can be booked for up to 25 people per tour. Heinzig himself stretched an ordinary Trabi into a 5.55-metre-long vehicle, which is, according to the Guinness Book of Records, the world's longest permitted Trabant.
Stretch limos are from America. The Trabis come from East Germany. So it's a very funny combination. I like it.
For millions of East Germans, the Trabant was the only car available, and there was a waiting list years long. After reunification, the first thing everybody wanted to do was rid themselves of the quirky little car. Now, a decade later, many are happy to see a Trabi again. The Trabant's 600cc 2-stroke engine has just 5 moving parts, but is an ecological nightmare. Millions of the cars were built and were partially responsible for high levels of air pollution in eastern Germany. In addition, very little of the car can be recycled, and safety features are restricted to front safety belts in the newer models. But what was once daily transport has now become a nostalgic curiosity. Boasting 27 horsepower, a standard Trabant can reach about 100 kilometers an hour, although the owner's manual says not to exceed 80. The little cars have even become collector's pieces for wealthy enthusiasts and continue to be daily transport for many. But Berlin hasn't rubbed out all its murky history. Sections of the wall that divided the city have been kept amid the reconstruction of the German capital. On the western side, the colourful murals were painted along its length, and many have been retained. The Trabant itself features in the relationship between the former Soviet and German democratic republics. A tourist guide explains landmarks and sights via wireless radio to the passengers and those who have decided to drive themselves. The tour costs about €20 per person. And it seems old Trabis never die, they just smoke away. We end with another look at the way things were in Formula One 25 years ago. But so you stay on track and up to speed, make sure you catch next week's Drive.